Hello everyone, welcome back to Archo's World of Fear. Today's terrifying story has been sent from Ohio, USA, by a young man named Daniel Miller. The incident happened a few years ago, but the memories are still haunting him every single day. Let's get into it. Daniel was an ordinary college student at Ohio State University. He was 22 years old, easygoing, the kind of boy who would spend late nights gaming with friends, grabbing pizza after midnight, and dreaming about a brighter future. But his life had changed forever 1 year before, on the night his best friend, Ethan Parker, died. Everyone said it was an accident. Ethan's car had flipped over on the highway late at night, and his body had been found mangled in the wreckage. The official report listed it as reckless driving. People moved on. But Daniel never believed it. Days before Ethan's death, he had whispered something chilling to Daniel. "Dan," he had said, his eyes darting nervously, "someone's following me. I don't know who, but I feel like I'm being hunted." Daniel had laughed it off at the time, thinking Ethan was stressed, maybe drunk, maybe paranoid. But now those words were etched into his brain. It was a stormy Friday night when Daniel first received the call. He was sitting alone in his small apartment, books spread out on the desk, a cup of coffee going cold beside him. The rain lashed against the window, thunder shook the glass, and at 12:47 a.m., his phone buzzed. At first he thought it was a spam call, but when he glanced at the screen his blood froze. The name flashing there was Ethan Parker. Daniel's throat went dry. His heart pounded so violently he thought it might burst. Ethan had been dead for a year. His phone had been confiscated by the police, his number deactivated. There was no way this could happen. With trembling hands Daniel answered. At first there was nothing but heavy breathing on the other end. A slow, guttural inhale and exhale that filled his ear like something inhuman. Then, faintly, he heard a voice, distorted, broken, like it was being dragged through static and water. "Dan," the voice rasped. "They killed me. They're coming back." The line went dead. Daniel sat frozen, staring at the phone in his hand as though it might explode. His entire body was shaking. He wanted to believe it was some prank, maybe one of his friends messing with him, but deep down he knew that voice. It was Ethan. For the rest of the night, Daniel could not sleep. He paced his apartment, replaying the call in his head. He remembered Ethan's warning, the fear in his friend's eyes. And now this, was it possible? Could the dead reach out? Or was this something darker? 2 nights later, at nearly the same time, the phone rang again. Daniel was ready this time. He snatched the phone off the desk and answered immediately. This time there was more than breathing. In the background he could hear screams, raw, animalistic screams, the kind that could only come from someone being tortured. There were metallic sounds, clashing, scraping, and something that sounded like chanting in a language Daniel couldn't understand. Then Ethan's voice came again, clearer this time, trembling with rage and agony. "Dan, they used black magic. I didn't want to die, they forced me." Daniel felt his blood run cold. His skin prickled with goosebumps. He screamed into the phone, Who did this to you? Tell me." But the line cut off once more, leaving him in silence except for the sound of his own ragged breathing. That was when Daniel knew it wasn't a prank. Something unnatural was happening. And the only way to find out the truth was to investigate. He began digging into Ethan's last days. He went to the bar where Ethan used to hang out, asked his old circle of friends, even pulled records from the police report. Everyone brushed him off, told him to let it go, that Ethan was dead and nothing could change that. But the more they told him to stop, the more determined Daniel became. Finally, he stumbled on a detail he had overlooked. The night Ethan died, he had left a party at the house of a man named Marcus Hale. Marcus was a strange figure around campus, older than most students, never seemed to have classes but always had money. Rumors followed him, dark rituals, strange gatherings, and whispers of occult practices. People said he dabbled in black magic. Daniel's stomach tightened when he realized Ethan had been with Marcus just hours before his death. The phone calls grew more disturbing. Sometimes Ethan's voice would come through sobbing, begging Daniel to help. Other times it was angry, furious, filled with hate. "Find them," he whispered one night. "Make them pay. My blood is still on their hands." Daniel started noticing things in his apartment. His mirrors fogging over with words scratched into the condensation. The lights flickering violently at 12:47 a.m., the exact time of the first call. Once he found his phone lying on the floor, even though he swore he had left it on the desk. On the screen, without ringing, a missed call notification, Ethan Parker. Sleep abandoned him. His friends thought he was going insane. But Daniel couldn't stop. One evening, he followed Marcus Hale to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. Through the broken windows he saw dim candlelight, shadows dancing against the walls, and figures in black robes chanting. In the center of the room was a symbol painted on the floor in what looked like dried blood. Daniel's stomach twisted as he realized he was staring at some kind of ritual. He pulled out his phone to record, but as he raised it, his phone buzzed violently in his hand. Without pressing anything, Ethan's number lit up the screen. The chanting inside the warehouse grew louder, more frenzied, and Daniel heard his dead friend's voice screaming into his ear, "Stop them. They bound my soul here. They won't let me rest." Terrified, Daniel stumbled backward, his breath fogging in the cold night air. The chanting suddenly ceased. All the figures in the warehouse turned as one, their heads snapping toward him. He didn't stay to see what happened next. He ran, heart pounding, until he reached his car and sped away. That night the call came again, but this time Ethan was different. His voice was low, hollow, filled with despair. "Dan, you can't save me. My body was broken, my soul chained. They took me apart with blades and fire, and then they sealed me into this number, this connection. That's why I can reach you. I am trapped in their magic." Daniel wept as he listened. His best friend was not only murdered, but imprisoned in some nightmarish limbo by black magic. The accident had been a cover, a mask for something far worse. But Ethan wasn't finished. His voice grew sharp, commanding. "If you love me, you will end this. Destroy Marcus. Break the circle. Free me." Daniel felt torn apart. He was a college student, not a fighter. How could he go up against a group of cultists practicing black magic? But he also couldn't ignore Ethan's pleas. He decided to act. The next night he returned to the warehouse, this time armed with a crowbar and a bottle of gasoline. He waited until the chanting started again, then he burst through the broken doors. The cultists turned, their eyes glowing faintly in the candlelight. Marcus Hale stepped forward, smiling cruelly. "You shouldn't be here, Daniel," Marcus said softly, his voice echoing unnaturally. "Your friend belongs to us now." Daniel's anger boiled over. "You murdered him. You chained his soul. I won't let you keep him." He swung the crowbar, shattering one of the candles. The ritual circle broke, the bloodlines smearing across the floor. The cultists screamed, clutching their heads. At that exact moment, Daniel's phone rang. Ethan's number. Hands shaking, Daniel answered. Ethan's voice filled the warehouse, louder than human lungs should allow, echoing off the walls like thunder. "Now, Dan. Burn it." Daniel hurled the gasoline across the floor and lit a match. Flames erupted instantly, devouring the symbols, racing up the robes of the screaming cultists. The warehouse filled with smoke and fire, Marcus's shrieks echoing as his body twisted unnaturally in the blaze. Daniel fled into the night, the inferno raging behind him. Outside, choking on smoke, he pulled out his phone. The screen was still lit. Ethan's name. Slowly, Daniel raised it to his ear. For the first time, Ethan's voice was calm, gentle, almost peaceful. "Thank you, brother. You freed me. I can rest now." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry I couldn't save you sooner." There was silence for a long moment, then a whisper, fading into nothing. "Goodbye, Dan." The call ended. The phone screen went dark. And that was the last time Daniel ever heard from Ethan. But sometimes, late at night, when the wind howls against his window and the clock strikes 12:47 a.m., Daniel swears he can hear his phone buzz softly. And he wonders if Ethan is really gone, or if some part of him will always remain, bound by the darkness that took him.